Hi, this is Troy Smith, and you're watching Restaurant Rewind, episode number 2. What happened to Burger Chef? Last week in episode 1, you'll remember that we looked at a similar burger chain in What Happened to Sandy's Drive-In. Today, we are taking a closer look at another fast food restaurant that, with over 1,200 locations at its peak, was poised to be at the top of the burger food chain. Burger Chef was an American fast food restaurant chain founded in 1954 in Indianapolis, Indiana, by brothers and inventors Frank and Don Thomas and their partner Bob Wildman. The chain featured several signature items such as the Big Shef, the Super Shef, the Funmeal, and the Works Bar. Today we will explore Burger Chef's beginnings, its innovative mark in fast food, and finally the eventual buyout by Hardee's. In 1954, Frank and Donald Thomas owned General Equipment Company and were hired to design a flame broiler for an up-and-coming fast food chain called Burger King. During the design process, it occurred to Frank Thomas that it would be easier to sell the equipment that they designed if they had a store to showcase it. And with that idea, they decided to cut ties with Burger King and forge ahead to showcase their equipment designs in their own store. In May 1957 in Indianapolis, Indiana, Burger Chef was born. Soon Burger Chef spread across the United States, following a strategy of opening stores in smaller towns. In 1968, General Foods Corporation purchased the chain and continued its rapid expansion. At the time of the purchase by General Foods, Burger Chef had 600 locations in 39 states. By 1972, the 1,200 Burger Chef locations was only surpassed by McDonald's 1,600 locations, making Burger Chef the number 2 chain in the nation at the time. Throughout the late 50s, 60s, and into the 70s, Burger Chef was known for its innovation. Burger Chef offered a double burger called the Big Shef, and later the quarter-pound hamburger, the Super Shef. The patented flame broiler used to cook these favorites wasn't Burger Chef's only contribution to the fast food industry. Burger Chef also introduced the Works Bar, where customers could add their own toppings and develop their own creations. Fuddruckers restaurants uses something similar in their restaurants today. The Triple Treat was the first value combo meal of its kind, consisting of a hamburger, fries, and a shake for only 45 cents. Think about that. You could feed a family of 4 for less than $2. The innovation I remember best was sheer marketing genius, in my opinion. So let's dig into advertising. As we discussed in What Happened to Sandy's Drive-In, Sandy's had serious need for capital and expansion in the early 1970s. McDonald's had the support of big banks and had launched a major television advertising campaign. Sandy's began to struggle to keep up. Burger Chef recognized this same need, but unlike Sandy's, now that it had been purchased by General Foods, it was primed and ready to use its advertising dollars and go head-to-head with McDonald's. Enter Burger Chef and Jeff, the lovable mascots who made their way into your living room in the early 1970s. Paul Winchell voiced the character of Burger Chef, and you might recognize his voice as that of Tigger, Winnie the Pooh's friend. Also the talking, scrubbing Bubble in the commercials for Dow Chemicals, and Mr. Owl for Tootsie Pops, as well as many others. The chain introduced the Fun Burger and the Fun Meal, with packaging that included stories about Burger Chef and Jeff's adventures with their friends, which would include the magician Burgerini, the vampire Count Fangburger, the talking ape Burgerilla, and the witch Cackleburger. The Fun Meal enhanced a child's dining experience with riddles, puzzles, and small toys. Oh, and I remember specifically the cookie. My sister and I absolutely loved going to Burger Chef when we were kids. When McDonald's later introduced their Happy Meal in 1979, Burger Chef sued, but ultimately lost. Like most fast food establishments of the 50s and 60s, Burger Chef buildings were also a huge part of the brand. The original 4 buildings, which were frankly quite boring, were quickly replaced in the early 60s with the BC-08, which looked like what you see here. These buildings were designed by Indianapolis architect Harry E. Cooler. This is also known as the kite design, and along with the kite-shaped road sign, it created excitement for hungry customers. In the late 60s, the Cosmo 2 buildings began cropping up, which utilized the same open kite look, but featured a stone facade on the front and a streamlined road sign. The early 1970s saw some major changes in the way that many fast food restaurants were designed. These establishments didn't just exist to provide quality food and drink. The buildings were actually tailored to provide a comfortable place to bring the whole family. McDonald's, Sandy's, Hardee's, and of course Burger Chef were all changing their buildings to accommodate a total dining experience. Just a few short years later, we would see the advent of the drive-thru, which gave customers the choice of bringing the whole family inside to enjoy some table time or grabbing it to go without even leaving the car when pressed for time. It is easy to see now that fast food also meant fast changing, and some chains like McDonald's and Burger Chef kept up, at least for a while, and those who didn't were quickly wiped off the fast food map. Just like Sandy's Drive-In from episode 1, it seemed Burger Chef was poised to take over McDonald's foothold in the industry. But also like Sandy's, Burger Chef just couldn't pull it off. So what happened? Well, some would say that it was a growth that was out of control, and General Foods just couldn't handle it. Others say that General Foods wanted to refocus its energy on what it knew best, packaged foods. Still others say that General Foods didn't charge enough for royalties and Burger Chef became too costly to operate. It's likely that all of these factors created a perfect storm. The fast food landscape was rapidly changing and was as competitive as ever. Although General Foods had deep pockets, perhaps its interests might have been a little too varied. General Foods realized it needed to get back to its core business, citing that Burger Chef was not central to the long-term direction that we see for General Foods. Competitors like McDonald's focused on one thing: the restaurants. Do you remember Rocky III? You could probably say that McDonald's had the eye of the tiger. And while chains like Sandy's and Burger Chef once did too, it was lost somewhere along the way. The big corporations had the needed resources, but since they were often involved in so many different businesses, they often lacked the focused intensity needed to sustain the original vision for the long term. One tragic event in a Burger Chef restaurant in Speedway, Indiana, left an unforgettable mark on the Burger Chef brand. On the night of Friday, November 17, 1978, 4 young employees, Jane Freight, 20, Daniel Davis, 16, Mark Flemons, 16, and Ruth Ellen Shelton, 18, went missing. Initially, investigators thought the 4 may have fled after stealing cash from the restaurant's safe. But by Saturday morning, it became a clear case of robbery kidnapping, and tragically, the case became a murder investigation when their bodies were discovered the next day on Sunday. Despite thousands of hours of police investigation and a Burger Chef offering a reward of $25,000 to anyone who could provide information about the suspects, the attackers were never prosecuted, and the case remains officially unsolved. So in December 1981, General Foods decided to sell Burger Chef to the Canadian company Amasco, which also owned Hardee's, for $44 million. Amasco converted many locations to Hardee's restaurants and let franchises and locations near existing Hardee's locations convert to other brands. Remaining restaurants that did not convert to Hardee's or new names simply closed. But like Burger Chef's former owner, General Foods, Amasco had other interests as well, such as tobacco, and the company supposedly took a $75 million write-off after the ink had dried. In a story similar to Sandy's Drive-In, Many Burger Chef franchisees had great success with the Burger Chef brand and really weren't looking forward to changing over to Hardee's. And one of these locations was in Danville, Illinois. Henry Schroeder opened his Burger Chef in 1960, and it was one of the most successful Burger Chef units in the country. Henry operated his Burger Chef for as long as he could, and in 1992, he was forced to drop the Burger Chef name and operate independently. So the Danville Burger Chef became Schroeder's Drive-In and continued serving the same Burger Chef food until it closed in October 2014. It reopened again in September 2015, but sadly closed again in January 2017. The final restaurant to carry the Burger Chef name was located in Cookeville, Tennessee, remaining a Burger Chef for as long as it could before the brand was stripped and forcing it to convert to Pleasers in 1996, almost 15 years after the original buyout. Hardee's brought back the Big Shef hamburger for a limited time in 2001, 2007, and 2014 at some Midwestern locations. In January 2007, River West Brands, LLC of Chicago, sued Hardee's Food Systems, claiming abandonment of the Burger Chef trademark, but ended up dropping the suit in April 2009. Occasionally, Hardee's has reprised the brand, but is usually very short-lived, and who knows when it'll make an appearance again. In 2014, the final season of the television drama Mad Men featured the fictional advertising agency Sterling Cooper and Partners pursuing and winning Burger Chef as a client. Feel free to Google that to see a clip. There are many of these original buildings still in existence today, being used as restaurants, convenience stores, and consignment shops, among other things. The truth is, people still love Burger Chef. If you search eBay, you will find Burger Chef items command top dollar, as you can see in this recent auction for a Burger Chef light globe. So after comparing the situation to episode 1, Burger Chef has met the same fate as Sandy's Drive-In. And it seems like, just like Sandy's, Burger Chef is gone forever. And while that is probably true, you still have to wonder how much of the success Hardee's experienced in the late 70s and 80s and 90s was attributed to the purchase of Sandy's and then Burger Chef. If you want to do further research on Burger Chef, you absolutely have to visit two sites, Kyle Brown's Burger Chef Memories and JSF's Burger Chef Tribute. These sites have a huge amount of information and great photos to help you in your research, so please go check those out. Two must-haves are two books, one by Scott R. Saunders entitled Burger Chef, Images of America, and the other is called Flame Out, The Rise and Fall of Burger Chef by John McDonald. There is so much more information out there that I could ever cover in this video, so check out the links in the description. But before you go, if you would like to see a video on the rise and fall of Hardee's, or maybe your favorite fast food chain, leave me a message in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this one, please subscribe to Restaurant Rewind now. See below for links to similar videos, such as What Happened to Sandy's Drive-In. I'm Troy, and thanks for watching. God bless, and make it an awesome day.